Good evening, this is Orson Welles. Personally, I've never met anybody who didn't like a good ghost story, but I know a lot of people who think there are a lot of people who don't like a good ghost story. For the benefit of these, at least, I go on record at the outset of this evening's entertainment with the sober assurance that although blood may be curdled on this program, none will be spilt. There's no shooting, knifing, throttling, axing, or poisoning here. No clanking chains, no cobwebs, no bony and or hairy hands appearing from secret panels or, better yet, bedroom curtains. If it's any part of that dear old phosphorescent foolishness that people who don't like ghost stories don't like, then again I promise you we haven't got it. What we do have is a thriller. If it's half as good as we think it is, you can call it a shocker. And we present it proudly without apologies. After all, a story doesn't have to appeal to the heart. It can also appeal to the spine. Sometimes you want your heart to be warmed. Sometimes you want your spine to tingle. The tingling, it's to be hoped, will be quite audible as you listen tonight to The Hitchhiker. That's the name of our story, The Hitchhiker.
I'm in an auto camp on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, perhaps it will help me. It will keep me from going mad. But I must tell this quickly. I am not mad now. I feel perfectly well, except I am running a slight temperature. My name is Ronald Adams. I am 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark, with a black mustache. I drive a 1940 Ford V8, license number 6B7989. I was born in Brooklyn. All this I know. I know that I am at this moment perfectly sane, that it is not me, that it is not I who have gone mad, but something else, something utterly beyond my control. But I must speak quickly. At any moment the link with life may break. This may be the last thing I ever told on earth, the last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California.
Goodbye, son. Good luck to you, my boy.
Goodbye, Mother. Here, give me a kiss and then I'll go.
I'll come out with you to the car.
No, it's raining. Stay here at the door. Hey, what's this? Tears? I thought you promised me you wouldn't cry.
I know, dear. I'm sorry, but I do hate to see you go.
I'll be back. I'll be on the coast only 3 months.
Oh, it isn't that. It's just the trip. Ronald, I wish you weren't driving.
Oh, Mother, there you go again. People do it every day.
I know, but you'll be careful, won't you? Promise me you'll be extra careful. Don't fall asleep, or drive fast, or pick up any strangers on the road.
Lord, no. You'd think I was still 17 to hear you talk.
And wire me as soon as you get to Hollywood, won't you, son?
Of course I will. Now, don't you worry. There isn't anything going to happen. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent, civilized roads, with a hot dog or a hamburger stand every 10 miles. I was in excellent spirits. The drive ahead of me, even the loneliness, seemed like a lark. But I reckoned without him. Crossing Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man leaning against the cables. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. He was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was thin, nondescript, with the cap pulled down over his eyes. He stepped off the wall, and if I hadn't swerved, I'd have hit him. I would have forgotten him completely, except just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least, he looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he got there, but I thought probably one of those fast trucks had picked him up, beat me to the Skyway, and let him off. I didn't stop for him. Then, late that night, I saw him again. It was on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long, with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the for one of the tunnels when I saw him, standing under an arc light by the side of the road. I could see him quite distinctly. The bag, the cap, even the spots of fresh rain spattered over his shoulders. He held me this time.
Hello? Hello?
I stepped on the gas like a shot. That's lonely country through the Alleghenies, and I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidence of whatever it was gave me the willies. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir.
Fill her up.
Certainly, sir. Check your oil, sir.
No, thanks.
Nice night, isn't it?
Yes. It hasn't been raining here recently, has it?
Not a drop of rain all week.
I suppose that hasn't done your business any harm.
Oh, people drive through here all kinds of weather. Mostly business, you know. There aren't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this season of the year.
I suppose not. What about hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers here?
What's the matter? Don't you ever see any?
Not much. If we did, it'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Why?
A guy, be a fool, started out to hitch rides on this road. Look at it. It's 265 miles long. There's practically no speed limit, and it's a straightaway. Now, what car is going to stop to pick up a guy under these conditions? Would you stop?
No. Then you've never seen anybody?
No. Maybe they get the lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, you know, just before the toll house. But then it'd be a mighty long ride. Most cars wouldn't want to pick up a guy for that long a ride. And you know, this is a pretty lonesome country here. Mountains and woods. You ain't seen anybody like that, have you?
No. Oh, no, not at all. It was just a technical question.
I see. Well, that'll be just $1.49 with tax.
The thing gradually passed from my mind as sheer coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh. I did not think about the man all next day until just outside of Zanesville, Ohio, I saw him again. It was a bright, sunshiny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, lay dreaming in the golden light. I was driving slowly, drinking it in, when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Let me explain about his appearance before I go on. I repeat, there was nothing sinister about him. He was as drab as a mud fence, nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there, waiting, almost drooping a little, the cheap overnight bag in his hand. He looked as though he had been waiting there for hours. Then he looked up. He hailed me. He started to walk forward.
Hello? Hello?
I had stopped the car, of course, for the detour, and for a few moments, I couldn't seem to find the new road. I knew he must be thinking that I had stopped for him.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
No, not just now, sorry.
Going to California?
No, not today, the other way. Going to New York. Sorry. After I got the car back onto the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of having him sit beside me, was somehow unbearable. Yet at the same time, I felt more than ever unspeakably alone. Hour after hour went by. The fields, the towns ticked off one by one. The lights changed. I knew now that I was going to see him again. And though I dreaded the sight, I caught myself searching the side of the road, waiting for him to appear.
Yep. What is it? What do you want?
You sell sandwiches and pop here, don't you?
Yep, we do. In the daytime. But we're closed now for the night.
I know, but I was wondering if you could possibly let me have a cup of coffee, black coffee.
Not at this time, mister. My wife's the cook, and she's in bed. Maybe far there down the road at the honeysuckle rest.
No, don't shut the door. Listen, just a minute ago there was a man standing here, right beside the stand. A suspicious looking man.
Henry, who is it, Henry?
It's nobody. Mother, just a feller that thinks he wants a cup of coffee. Go back into bed.
I don't mean to disturb you, but you see, I was driving along when I just happened to look. And there he was.
What was he doing?
Nothing. He ran off when I stopped the car.
Then what of it? That's nothing to wake a man in the middle of his sleep about. Young man, I've got a good mind to turn you over to the sheriff.
But
You've been taking it. That's what you've been doing. And you haven't got anything better to do than wake the decent folk out of their hard-earned sleep. Keep going. Go on.
But he looked as though he were going to rob you.
I ain't got nothing in this stand to lose. Now, on your way before I call out the sheriff. Oh, please.
I got into the car again and drove on slowly. I was beginning to hate the car. If I could have found a place to stop, to rest a little. But I was in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri. Now, the few resort places there were closed. Only an occasional log cabin, seemingly deserted, broke the monotony of the wild, wooded landscape. I had seen him at the roadside stand. I knew I would see him again, perhaps at the next turn of the road. I knew that when I saw him next, I would run him down. But I did not see him again until late next afternoon.
Ding, 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 ding.
I had stopped the car at a sleepy little junction just across the border into Oklahoma to let a train pass by. When he appeared, across the tracks, leaning against a telephone pole. It was a perfectly airless, dry day. The red clay of Oklahoma was baking under the southwestern sun. Yet there was spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. I couldn't stand that. Without thinking, blindly, I started the car across the tracks. He didn't even look up at me. He was staring at the ground. I stepped on the gas hard, veering the wheel sharply toward him. I could hear the train in the distance now, but I didn't care. Then something went wrong with the car. It stalled right on the tracks. The train was coming closer. I could hear its bell ringing and the cry of its whistle. Still, he stood there, and now I knew that he was beckoning me to my death. Well, I frustrated him that time. The starter had worked at last. I managed to back up, but when the train passed, he was gone. I was all alone in the hot, dry afternoon. After that, I knew I had to do something. I didn't know who this man was or what he wanted of me. I only knew that from now on, I must not let myself be alone on the road for one moment. Hello there. Like a ride?
What do you think? How far are you going?
Amarillo. I'll take you to Amarillo.
Amarillo, Texas?
I'll drive you there.
Gee,
Mind if I...
if I take my shoes off, my dogs are killing me.
Go right ahead.
Gee, what a break this is. A swell car, a decent guy, and driving all the way to Amarillo? All I've been getting so far is trucks.
Hitchhike much?
Sure, only it's rough sometimes in these great open spaces to get the brakes.
I should think it would be. Though, I'll bet if you get a good pickup in a fast car, you can get to places faster than, say, another person in another car.
I don't get you.
Well, take me for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country, say at a nice steady clip of about 45 miles an hour. Couldn't a girl like you, just stand beside the road, waiting for lifts, beat me to town after town, provided she got picked up every time in a car doing from 65 to 70 miles an hour?
I don't know. Maybe she could and maybe she couldn't. What difference does it make?
Oh, no difference. It's just a crazy idea I had sitting here in the car.
Imagine spending your time in a slow car thinking of things like that.
What would you do instead?
What would I do? If I was a good-looking fellow like yourself, Why, I just enjoy myself. Every minute of the time, I'd sit back and relax. If I saw a good-looking girl along the side of the road, hey, look out!
Did you see him too?
See who?
That man standing beside the barbed wire fence.
I didn't see anybody. There wasn't nothing but a bunch of old steers and the barbed wire fence. What did you think he was doing, trying to run down the barbed wire fence?
There was a man there, I tell you. A thin, gray man with an overnight bag in his hand. And I was trying to run him down.
Run him down? You mean kill him?
He's a sort of phantom. I'm trying to get rid of him. Or else prove that he's real. But you say you didn't see him back there? You sure?
I didn't see a soul, and as far as I'm concerned, mister,
Watch for him the next time. Then keep watching. Keep your eyes peeled on the road. He'll turn up again. Maybe any time, any minute now. There, look there.
how does this door work? I'm getting out of here.
You see him that time?
No, I didn't see him that time, and personally, mister, I don't ever expect to see him. All I want to do is go on living, and I don't see how I could do that very long driving with you.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, don't go.
So if you'll excuse me, mister.
You can't go. Listen, how would you like to go to California? I'll drive you to California.
Seeing pink elephants all the way? No thanks.
I could get you a job there. You wouldn't have to be a waitress. I have friends there. My name is Ronald Adams. You can check up.
Things just the same.
Listen, please, for just 1 minute. Maybe you think I am half cracked, but this man, you see, I've been seeing this man all the way across the country. He's been following me, and if you could only help me, stay with me until I reach the coast.
You know what you need, big boy? Not a girlfriend, just a good dose of sleep. There, I got it now.
No, you can't go.
Hey, leave your hands off of me. Do you hear? Leave your...
Come back here, please, come back. She ran from me as though I were a monster. A few minutes later, I saw a passing truck pick her up. I knew then that I was utterly alone. I was in the heart of the great Texas prairies. There wasn't a car on the road after the truck went by. I tried to figure out what to do, how to get hold of myself, if I could find a place to rest, or even if I could sleep right here in the car for a few hours alongside the road. I was getting my winter overcoat out of the back seat to use as a blanket when I saw him coming toward me, emerging from the herd of moving steer.
Hello? Hello?
I didn't wait for him to come any closer. Perhaps I should have spoken to him then, fought it out then and there. For now, he began to be everywhere. Whenever I stopped, even for a moment, for gas, for oil, for a drink of pop, a cup of coffee, a sandwich, he was there. I saw him standing outside the auto camp in Amarillo. That night when I dared to slow down, he was sitting near the drinking fountain in a little camping spot just inside the border of New Mexico. He was waiting for me outside the Navajo reservation where I stopped to check my tires. I saw him in Albuquerque where I bought 12 gallons of gas. I was afraid now, afraid to stop. I began to drive faster and faster. I was in the lunar landscape now, the great arid mesa country of New Mexico. I drove through it with the indifference of a fly crawling over the fence, the face of the moon. But now, he didn't even wait for me to stop, unless I drove at 85 miles an hour over those endless roads. He waited for me at every other mile. I would see his figure, shadowless, flitting before me, still in its same attitude, over the cold and lifeless ground, flitting over the dried-up rivers, over broken stones cast up by old glacial upheavals, flitting in the pure and cloudless air. I was beside myself when I finally reached Gallup, New Mexico this morning. There is an auto camp here, cold, almost deserted at this time of year. I went inside and asked if there was a telephone. I had the feeling that if only I could speak to someone familiar, someone that I loved, I could pull myself together.
Number, please.
Long distance.
This is long distance.
I'd like to put in a call to my home in Brooklyn, New York. I'm Ronald Adams. The number is Beechwood 20828.
Thank you. What is your number?
312.
Albuquerque. New York for Gallup. New. Gallup, New Mexico calling Beechwood 20828.
I had read somewhere that love could banish demons. It was the middle of the morning. I knew Mother would be home. I pictured her tall, white-haired, in her crisp house dress, going about her task. It would be enough. I thought merely to hear the even calmness of her voice.
Will you please deposit $3.85 for the first 3 minutes? When you have deposited $1.50, you will wait until I have collected the money. All right, deposit another $1.50. Will you please deposit the remaining 85 cents? Ready with Brooklyn. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Miss Adams' residence.
Hello? Hello? Mother?
This is Miss Adams' residence. Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
Why? Who is this?
This is Miss Whitney.
Miss Whitney? I don't know any Miss Whitney. Is this Beechwood 20828?
Yes.
Where's my mother? Where's Mrs. Adams?
Miss Adams is not at home. She's still in the hospital.
The hospital?
Yes, who is this calling, please? Is it a member of the family?
What's she in the hospital for?
She's been prostrated for 5 days. Nervous breakdown. But who is this calling?
Nervous breakdown? But my mother was never nervous.
It's all taken place since the death of her oldest son, Ronald.
Death of her oldest son, Ronald. Hey, what is this? What number is this?
This is Beechwood 20828. It's all been very sudden. He was killed just 6 days ago in an automobile accident on Brooklyn Bridge.
Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir.
And so, I am sitting here in this deserted auto camp in Gallup, New Mexico. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get a hold of myself. Otherwise, I shall go mad. Outside, it's night. The vast, soulless night of New Mexico. 1,000,000 stars are in the sky. Ahead of me stretch 1,000 miles of empty mesa, mountains, prairies, desert. Somewhere among them, he is waiting for me. Somewhere, I shall know who he is and who I am.
Well said.